Hello, welcome, lovely greetings, all dear students. This is Navin Karki with another episode in physics. आज हम बात करने जा रहे हैं about a very wonderful. I'm getting goosebumps to start this episode because it's very, very interesting. Unlike other chapters, इसमें जो है आपको straightforward numerical. Of course, physics है तो little bit of concepts they are very much important. But इसमें क्या है कि जब आप solve करने लगेंगे आपको मजा आ जाएगा. You're really going to enjoy it. Therefore, I said कि today I'm getting goosebumps to start this. And I hope you people are also very much interested and excited as I am. Begin करते हैं. जैसे कि आप सभी को पता है जो existing viewers हैं, this class is broadcasted through Airtel DTH. ये जो channel है, we call it as the Aakash Edu TV. तो discussion class के दौरान कोई भी query है, कोई भी चीज़ है आप share करना चाहें, but of course related to this, like I pass on the question, you send the answer, या कोई भी query है, the only channel that will be visible to me is WhatsApp. So WhatsApp communication में मदद के लिए मेरे साथ राजेंद्र जी हैं. So Rajendra ji will be helping me for all the queries and messages. He filters it out and he sends. Number existing viewers उन सभी को पता होगा. For those students who don't know this, the number is 9311883484. आप जो है इस नंबर को आकाश एडू टीवी के नाम से सेव कीजिए. So any given discussion that you want to do, please send via this. Medium of communication, we are going to place it as 80% around English or 20% we'll keep it in Hindi. So let's begin. Up until now, we have learned the force on a charged particle in a magnetic field. Okay, and what was the discussion that we have done so far? कि अगर आपके पास एक charged particle है, then the force on that charged particle that is equals to Q V cross B. In other words, आप चाहते हैं आपका जो experimental charge है that should experience force, तो there is a little bit of condition, शर्त है, और वो condition है the charge should be moving. इसका मतलब you have to throw the charge, you have to kick the charge into the region of magnetic field. अगर charge rest में है, we know the charge is not going to experience any type of force. So that was the discussion that we have done so far, and I hope all of us agree on this part. अब बात है कि हम चाहते हैं हमारा जो charge है that should experience force. So the condition that I need to maintain is that the charge should be moving. तो किन-किन तरीकों से हम charge को motion में रख सकते हैं? That is the biggest question. अगर मैं आपको ऐसे कह दूं कि the charge should be moving, किसी भी तरह से कर लीजिए. मन करे, keep the charge inside your pocket and you just keep on roaming throughout the day. मान लेते वहां magnetic field है. Your charge which is inside your pocket will experience the force. हो सकता है charge को रस्सी के एक ओर बांध दीजिए और उसको गोल-गोल circularly आप घुमाने लग जाएं. Even in that case, that given charge will experience force. But in all this situation, what really is happening is ये थोड़ा सा practical नहीं है. It's not a practical one, okay? So people have thought कि क्यों ना हम एक permanent तरीका ढूंढें where the charge would be in motion. और एक permanent method of moving charge current carrying conductor से बेहतर क्या हो सकता है? The current carrying conductor is an arrangement where the charge is in motion. previously, in order to move the charge, we were keeping the charge inside our pocket and we were walking, all right? But इस बार, all you need to do is that you just need to attach a battery, and that battery will generate a sustained current, or current का मतलब the charge is moving, and if it is moving, of course, that will experience magnetic force. So I think theoretically all of us now do agree at this particular point कि अगर आपके पास एक current carrying conductor है, if you see the internal part, current carrying conductor, you should remember at the basic thing, fundamentally, the charge is moving. So if I keep this current carrying conductor in a magnetic field, then of course, the current carrying conductor will experience the force. So I hope fundamentally now all of us have agreed, because the current carrying conductor is an arrangement where the charge is moving, and if the charge is moving, of course, it will experience the force. Now it's time कि एक बार हमने logically इस बात को set up किया है that the current carrying conductor will experience force, we would like to see the mathematics associated with it. All right? So let's see the mathematics associated. हम शुरू करेंगे magnetic field. यहाँ पर बहुत ध्यान से देखना. You know, first of all is that आपको external magnetic field दिया जाता है. Okay? Now, the first level of problem, इसे हम दो stages में divide करेंगे. I know you must be very, very much excited to jump into the numerical, to dive into the numerical, but please wait. एक बार in principle चीजों को understand करें, and then we'll start doing the numerical. आप देखिए इसमें we are going to divide the entire numerical into two categories. Number one is that you would be given the magnetic field. Now, एक बार किसी ने कह दिया कि magnetic field given है, वैसे भी we humans are lazy by nature, तो किसी ने कह दिया कि don't worry, I am giving you the magnetic field, तो हम कहेंगे that's perfectly fine, because हमें तो magnetic field चाहिए. So we will not be interested कि वो magnetic field कहाँ से आ रही है. We say the question has given, and examiner is great, kind enough to give that external magnetic field. And that external magnetic field can be both uniform as well as non-uniform. So both the situations are present. But ध्यान दीजिएगा, the magnetic field has been given. Magnetic field दी गई है, and that field may be uniform, may be non-uniform. We will not be interested in that. वैसे फर्क भी क्या पड़ता है, दिया गया है. तो वो हिंदी में कहावत है कि आम खाएंगे, पेड़ नहीं गिनेंगे. That's all what we'll do. And in this given magnetic field, we will calculate the value of force. Now that's the first category. Second category, what we'll do is that इसमें थोड़ी सी और मेहनत लगती है. What we'll do is that first of all, we will calculate the field. Okay? So we are going to calculate the field. That's the first step. Or second step is that then we will calculate the force. तो ये जो second step है, it requires a very calm and a patient thinking. From the given arrangement, we will calculate the value of magnetic field, and in that magnetic field, we are gonna calculate the force. You know, the main thing that you require in magnetism, you know, otherwise magnetism becomes a very confusing traffic. Your head should be very cool. You should know, okay, what has been given and what has to be calculated. तो वो जानने के लिए the flow chart, that should be very clear in your head. The initial mistake, okay, the initial mistake is that you don't care about the facts, you directly dive into the numerical, which is wrong. Flow chart को दिमाग में रखें, नहीं तो ये magnetism है, आपको इस तरह से confuse कर देता है that maybe you would develop a permanent hatred against magnetism. फिर आप इंटरनेट पे ब्लॉग शुरू कीजिएगा, आई हेट मैग्नेटिज्म, बहुत सारे मेंबर्स मिलेंगे। टेलीग्राम पे ग्रुप बनाइए आप कि आई हेट मैग्नेटिज्म, मिनट में आपको 100 से कम सब्सक्राइबर्स नहीं मिलेंगे। It's a fact, okay? But you are going to be something different. You are trained in the Aakash education system, okay? So let's see. All right. Now, after we have learned all these given things, now shuru karte. In the first scenario, magnetic field will be given and we will calculate the force. सबसे पहली बात, जब भी हम कोई भी चीज को derive करते हैं और we want a generic expression, जो कि हर केस में वैलिड हो, ऑलराइट, इन दैट गिवन कंडीशन हम ये मान के चलते हैं दैट देयर इज अ करंट कैरिंग कंडक्टर, और मुझे इस बात से कोई लेना देना नहीं है दैट द मैग्नेटिक फील्ड इज यूनिफॉर्म और नॉन यूनिफॉर्म। ऐसा क्यों? आप कहेंगे ये तो बिल्कुल मायने रखता है कि मैग्नेटिक फील्ड यूनिफॉर्म हो या नॉन यूनिफॉर्म हो। वी गॉट टू बी वेरी vigilant on that, काफी accuracy के साथ you need to visualize. I would say my proposal is, मैं entire current carrying conductor पे I'm not looking at the force. Let me repeat it again. I'm not interested in the entire current carrying conductor. I would say that I'm considering a very, very small segment, and that segment is DL vector. आप कहेंगे अच्छा तो DL क्या है? That's a very small element in the current carrying wire. आप कहेंगे साहब ये तो वेक्टर है, so if it's a vector then it should have a direction. जी हाँ, the direction of DL vector is along the direction of current. Let me repeat it again. The direction of DL vector is in the direction of current. Now see the idea. I would just be interested in calculating the force in this segment, जिसे हम represent करेंगे by DF. DF is that tiny whiny little force which is acting at that segment. Or that expression of the force is I DL cross of B. That is the case. Now, still one thing may be troubling you. Why did I say कि ये जो expression मायने नहीं रखता है whether the magnetic field is constant or variable? There is a specific reason for this. और वो specific reason ये है, अगर मैं मान भी लूं that the magnetic field is variable, इसका मतलब क्या है? Magnetic field at this end will be something else. Magnetic field at this end will be something else. Okay? अगर मैं ये मान भी लूं that magnetic field is variable, अलग अलग जगह पर the value of magnetic field is different. But then we say, hey, हम तो पूरा कंडक्टर पे फोर्स कैलकुलेट ही नहीं कर रहे. We are not calculating the force in the entire conductor. हम तो कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं in a very, very small element. So what is magnetic field? Let me repeat it again. इस बात को बहुत अच्छे से used to हो जाए. B is the magnetic field at that location where this DL is present. अब इससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है magnetic field is constant or variable? Anyway, our system of interest is that tiny whiny little conductor which is equivalent to a point. Let me repeat it again. What is B? B is the magnetic field at that location, at that point where the DL current element exists. Now, this will be the expression of small magnetic force in this segment. इसी तरह से entire segment को छोटे 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 टुकड़ों में बांटेंगे. We are going to calculate the force in individual segment and then we are going to add them up. और वही जो addition process है, that is called as the integration. So first of all, what we did is that we calculated the force in this particular segment, and for the total segment, the value of the force will be I dl cross B. So this is the first expression that we got, the first formula of the day. Formula कहते ही आप सभी जो है चौकन्ने हो जाते हैं. So that is the value of the force in the entire wire. For the last time, let's see, formula को बहुत blindly memorize ना करें. जी हाँ, you got to memorize the formula, but try to know the every detailing of the formula. Try to know the anatomy of the formula. आप देखें I dl cross B, this one, which is also called as the integrand. The thing inside the integration, that is called as the integrand. The integrand is the force which is acting in this small segment, all right? And integration complete will be the total force which is acting on the wire. और ये जो expression है, that expression is the general expression. That doesn't matter whether the magnetic field is constant or variable. This is the total force on the wire. Okay, now the first thing we have done, and I believe with all these things, at least magnetic force के बारे में अच्छी तरह से पहचान हो गई है. All right? So people are sending WhatsApp messages. Hello, hi, good morning. For any new viewers, 9311883484, and I would be able to see only the WhatsApp chat. So today there is Deepak from Dehradun. Hello, Deepak. Pleased to see you. That's wonderful. All right. आगे बढ़ते हैं. That was the expression of the magnetic force on the entire segment. अब हम बात करते हैं what would happen if the magnetic field is uniform. Now let's see, if the magnetic field is uniform. Now that is a very very important word. दो किस्म के वर्ड से हम मैग्नेटिक फील्ड को स्पेसिफाई करते हैं. एक होता है वी कॉल इट एज स्टेडी और एक होता है वी कॉल इट एज यूनिफॉर्म. यहां पर वी गॉट टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस मीनिंग. शब्दों के खेल में मत फंसिएगा. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द एग्जैक्ट मीनिंग ऑफ ऑल दिस थिंग्स. सो हियर स्टेडी का मतलब, ओके, नीलेश दृष्टि, हेलो, गुड मॉर्निंग. ऑलराइट, you want, नाम क्या है? You want full physics full syllabus course for NEET. आप एक बार आकाश EduTV at AESL airtel.com में या info@aesl.in में मेल कीजिएगा. People will certainly respond to you. Okay. Now let's come to this point. आज हम बात करेंगे about that word which is called as uniform and steady. Good morning, good morning. Uniform का मतलब है magnetic field is constant with respect to position. Coordinate के respect में. अगर uniform है, इसका मतलब यहाँ जितना field है, यहाँ पर भी उतना ही field है. पूरे दुनिया में कहीं पर भी जाओ, the value of magnetic field is constant. तो ध्यान दीजिएगा, यूनिफॉर्म का मतलब मैग्नेटिक फील्ड इज कांस्टेंट, WRT, कोऑर्डिनेट के हिसाब से चेंज नहीं होती है. देयर इज आल्सो अनदर वर्ड व्हिच इज कॉल्ड एज स्टेडी. स्टेडी और अनस्टेडी, इसका ज्यादा एप्लीकेशन यू वुड बी फाइंडिंग इट इन इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक इंडक्शन, द Faraday's law. But let me tell you that meaning so that next time when you find that word steady, you would be alert right at the beginning. Steady का मतलब है magnetic field is constant, WRT, time. Uniform का मतलब है magnetic field is constant, WRT, position. So let's repeat. Uniform field, constant, WRT, position. Steady, magnetic field is constant, WRT, time. अभी हम टाइम डिपेंडेंट मैग्नेटिक फील्ड के बारे में वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट, सो विल जस्ट कंफर्म एंड विल जस्ट limit ourselves only to uniform magnetic field. Now ध्यान से देखिए, if the magnetic field is uniform, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं, इस magnetic field को we can bring it out of the integration. Integration के अंदर magnetic field will be there as long as the magnetic field is non-uniform. But the moment I say that the magnetic field is uniform, so I can very conveniently bring the magnetic field out of the integration. You get that point? So in that given condition, you get magnetic field is I integration dl, और इसे हम अलग से ब्रैकेट में रखेंगे just to indicate that yes, the magnetic field is uniform. इसे इंटीग्रेशन से कोई वास्ता नहीं है, इंटीग्रेशन से ये अपना संबंध तोड़ रहा है, because it's uniform, इसे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. But please don't do the mistake कि ये B को पहले रखने की गलती ना करें. ध्यान दीजिएगा, this is cross product. P cross Q is minus of Q cross P. तो cross product में Q order is very very much important. It is something like बहुत ज़्यादा भीड़ लगी हुई है, आप किसी जगह पर मान लेते रेलवे टिकट लेने जा रहे हैं, आप बहुत पीछे हैं, सडनली चालाकी करके सपोज यू ट्राई टू बाईपास द क्यू और चुपके से साइड से किसी और जगह सामने जाके खड़े होना चाहते हैं, तो पीछे वाले चिल्लाएंगे. You can imagine that situation, what's going to happen. तो in that given situation, आप अपना क्यू ऑर्डर को चेंज नहीं कर सकते. ठीक इसी तरह से when it comes to cross product, you cannot change the Q order. B vector पीछे है तो ये पीछे ही रहेगा, पीछे या आगे जो भी कह दीजिए, that's a bit confusing, but like B is after DL, so that will remain after DL itself, and then I would come up with the expression F vector is I L cross B. So this is the expression of the magnetic force acting on a current carrying conductor in a uniform field. तो अब हमारे पास दो formulae, we have got it. One is the situation when the magnetic field is variable. The second is the situation when the magnetic field is uniform. So you see, such a lovely expression that we have found. But आप देखिए कि ये expression तक पहुंचने के लिए we did not say कि यही formula इसे memorize करो. At least we made an effort to understand how does the formula evolve. And that is very much important. अगर physics सीखनी है, अगर की तो बात ही नहीं है, if you are watching this, that means you have an intention to learn physics. You need to understand the evolution of the formula. That is very, very much important. That is crucial. Okay? All right. Now, after this, let's try to understand another given situation. To understand this particular situation, let's try to see कि magnetic field मिल गया, we have calculated the force. अब बात करते, what is the direction of the what is the direction of the magnetic force? Let's try to see. Direction of magnetic force निकालने के लिए we have many different technique. Okay, Srinjan, I'll see what is your question. Suppose, sir, it is an steady magnetic field, then also we can bring B out of integration. Yes, Srinjan. अगर suppose it is an unsteady कह दीजिए, steady तो वैसे ही constant हो गया with respect to time. If it is unsteady, then it is dependent on time, but then you would realize the type of question you ask is very, very wonderful. बिल्कुल core physics में जाके आप पूछते हैं. So, because the integration is happening with respect to position, so even if this magnetic field is a time-varying function, unsteady magnetic field, for this integration, बाकी की guarantee मैं नहीं ले सकता हूँ, but as long as you are talking about this integration, you can bring it out of that. So that will be the case. और उस समय magnetic field at that given time, तो जो भी आप force निकालेंगे at that given time, which of course will change at a next instant because of the simple fact that the magnetic field is time varying. So Stringent Sinha, I hope this is really going to help you out. But anyway, I love the question. That's really, really wonderful. Okay, now let's talk about the direction of force. Direction of force निकालने के लिए एक तो तरीका है Fleming's left hand rule. That's one technique. और Fleming's left hand rule से आप कर सकते हैं, but I say इस level में पहुंचने के बाद आप सीधा कह दो I'll follow the cross product. क्यों unnecessary बहुत सारे rules से आप burden out हो? Well, if it's a board exam preparation, then there is a probability people would ask that what is the Fleming's left hand rule. But then, as long as competitive exam की बात कर रहे हैं, the value of the force can be calculated by the direction of cross product. And even in the last class, I had assumed that you know the direction of cross product. तो यहाँ पर भी I will keep that assumption intact. Okay, you know. But just let me slightly tell you about the Fleming's left hand rule. So left hand rule, so this is the case. आप ये देगा force, ये देगा magnetic field, ये देगा current. That's how it comes. The force, magnetic field, current. You can wrap it up, you can say all those things, all right? But आप एक short form कर सकते हैं, an American detective agency, intelligence agency, FBI. So FBI. The force, magnetic field is B, I is the current. But frankly speaking, I never rely, or I never use, rely is a wrong word, that's perfectly reliable. I simply go with the cross product one. Okay, there's a, oh yes, so that is also completely father, mother, child, perfectly. Force, magnetic field, current, yes. Yes, Ranjan, it's a live class. Perhaps up that you must have figured it out. It is a live class. All right, so now let's try to understand the next thing. We have calculated, now we saw one thing, और एक situation है कि अगर, if I say that if the if L vector is parallel to magnetic field. So let me just help you with the help of an example. Figure के form में दिखाते हैं. Of course, I'm talking about uniform field. So this is the current carrying conductor. Even in the previous case, I had said the direction of L vector is the direction of current, or ये है B vector. Now, what are the steps? You would see that, hey, the current is in a uniform field, so this expression will be valid. Let's go step by step. Because L vector is parallel to the magnetic field, so the expression of the force, that is going to come out as 0. So under one situation, the expression of force will be 0. In other situation, of course, you got to calculate it. So long story short, if I just like to conclude all those things, the current carrying conductor in a magnetic field will experience force. This is the general expression, and this is valid when the magnetic field is uniform. Question to banta hai. Okay, so here it is. Here is that question. XY coordinate system that has been given. A uniform magnetic field B naught K cap. इसका मतलब the magnetic field is outside and that magnetic field is B naught. क्योंकि ये XY है, Z will be outside, and a vector coming outside, that is represented by dot. A current carrying wire is placed in the XY plane as shown. एक चीज है L और जो current की value है, please take it as I. That's not given, but that had to be given. It's a typo error. राजेंद्र जी ने I type करना भूल गए. Find the force acting on the wire AB. Entire wire AB पे, we've got to calculate the force. There's something, ये I है, alright. ये I है, दिया है, राजेंद्र जी ने बिल्कुल सही किया. The segment of the total length, each section का जो length है, that is A. Sometimes the computer font I L दोनों के लिए same use करते. Okay, so this is I. Okay, and the length of individual segment, that is A. कुल मिला के, if I just skip all the paragraph, this arrangement carries current I. Each segment has a length A. The wire is in the XY plane. The magnetic field is in the Z axis. We got to calculate the force on the wire. मुझे आंसर I, J, K के टर्म में चाहिए. For any new viewers, let me tell you, the class is being primarily broadcasted in Airtel DTH. आपकी कोई भी क्वेरी है या आंसर है 9311883484 पे व्हाट्सएप करें. All right, let's begin. एक टेक्निक ये है कि आप इंडिविजुअल सेगमेंट पे फोर्स निकालें. That's one technique. But that is not recommended because this is a situation where magnetic field is uniform, B naught K cap. Uniform because the magnetic field does not depend on the coordinate, does not depend on X, Y, Z. तो अगर magnetic field uniform है, I have the expression that the expression of force comes out to be I into L cross B. Now the big question is, what is L vector? It is the displacement. Let me repeat it again. It is the displacement starting from the initial and ending at the final. तो अगर आप displacement देखेंगे starting from initial and the final, and notice the direction. It should start from the initial and end at the final. The direction of the displacement is decided by the direction of current. तो आप देखिए इसमें चीजों को vectorially लिखना है, so there is no problem at all. Current is I. और L vector की अगर आप बात करें, that is 3A I cap. You just see, this is A, this is A, this is A. Complete displacement. ये advantage आपको मिलता है when the magnetic field is uniform. और जहां advantage मिलता है, क्यों ना उठाए? Okay, so there is no point that you start calculating in individual segment and you start adding it. Don't do that. और उसके बाद the magnetic field is B naught multiplied by K cap. A little bit of cross product. I cross K is minus of J. So in that given condition, this is going to be minus 3IA B naught multiplied by J cap. And that's the answer. That is the answer. So often students, what they do is that they start calculating the force in every segment and they lose their precious time. ध्यान दीजिएगा, the magnetic field is uniform, then L vector is the displacement. So much so, अगर मान लेते इसके बजाय, suppose this sort of arrangement has been given, that you have been given a semicircle, मान लेते. So even in that case, suppose that was the current, तो आपका जो L vector है, that will be the L vector and the value will be 2r. Don't forget, that is valid only under the condition when the magnetic field is uniform. Non-uniform के case में it is not at all valid. So I hope the first question has really helped you to understand it. All right, now let's go with the next one. There is a next question, and the next question is something like this. A little bit of modification. अभी आप देखेंगे, दिखने में difficult लगता है, but ऐसा भी नहीं है that we simply start doing some, easy cake question. बस हलवा question कोई करेंगे, you're not going to learn. So you got to see that thing, okay? नीलेश का है 3IA B0, बिल्कुल ठीक है, बस उसमें डायरेक्शन को देखना नीलेश, that has to be minus j cap. आपने मैग्नीट्यूड सही कहा है, but be careful about the direction. और अगर क्रॉस प्रोडक्ट में दिक्कत है, इसको अच्छी तरह से एक सेटिंग में प्लीज क्लेरिफाई इट, बिकॉज क्रॉस प्रोडक्ट इज अ वेरी वेरी वैल्यूएबल कंपोनेंट व्हेन यू लर्न फिजिक्स. ऑलराइट, तो इस क्वेश्चन को देखते हैं. I'll just tell you little bit. Question क्या निकालना है, that has not been said. I will say it to you. This is an inclined plane. आप देख सकते हैं that inclined plane makes an angle theta with horizontal. And there is a rod of mass m, length L. The surface is smooth. और ये दिया गया है that the rod is in equilibrium. Let's do as a discussion. Specifically, the actual three-dimensional figure बनाने का मकसद ये है, because I have seen हम entire physics में यही inclined plane के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, चाहे आप mechanics की बात करो anywhere, but we don't study the three-dimensional figure. We study only the two-dimensional figure. I remember 2 or 3 years back, ऐसे ही question था, student came to me and said कि सर ये तो figure बहुत difficult है. I quickly made the figure into a two-dimensional structure. Then the student said, वाह, ये तो बहुत आसान है. So I just thought कि एक three-dimensional figure को two-dimension में कैसे बदलते हैं. This example is really going to help you. So let's see. I'll just help you understand that how can we change it. आप बहुत ध्यान से देखना. It's something like this. Here is that inclined plane, because आप देखिए, the moment if I draw this inclined plane, आप कहेंगे वाह, ये तो जाना पहचाना सा format है. That's what you would say. And actually, as I had said in the before, that every inclined plane that we talk about, we are trained in this format. Our eyes are trained in this format. But the moment we get this, we get a bit confused. अब देखते चलो ये तो समझ आ गया, but where is the conductor? The conductor will be here. Okay, एक काम करते हैं. The conductor is here. Okay, क्योंकि हम यहाँ से देख रहे हैं. That's the side view that we are doing. And this angle is theta. That's the case. और आप देखिए, because we are watching from this side, यहाँ से देखेंगे the current will go into. And if it is going into, then we show it by cross. So cross is the direction of current. So कहाँ बना दूँ? All right, let me make it here. That is I. The length of course is L. अच्छा, तो magnetic field कहाँ है? Let's see. Now you got to understand that the magnetic field is perpendicular to this plane. Let me repeat it. The magnetic field is perpendicular to this plane. और उसी magnetic field को ये figure में बनाओ, then this is where the magnetic field will be there. Typically, जिस direction में हम normal reaction बनाते, this is that same direction. अब आप देखिए, first hand experience, जब हम ये numerical को देखते हैं, we tend to get a bit nervous. But the moment I shifted into this figure, now we are comfortable. And why are we comfortable? Because we have been trained in this given format. चलिए, अब शुरू करते हैं. Now, if I see the direction, first of all, see, let's go step by step. The direction of magnetic force and the value. Let's see. The magnetic force, if I say, एक काम करते हैं, ये जो फील्ड है इसको जरा सा यहां रख देता हूं. ओके, दिस इज द फील्ड बिकॉज आई एम मेकिंग द फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम, और वो फोर्स डायग्राम है. फोर्स डायग्राम में फील्ड विल नॉट कम. So, I'm trying to go to the minutest of the detail. ताकि let's not bring the field in the picture. Field है, but let's calculate the force first. आप देखिए, B vector और I vector के बीच में, I is not the vector, that's actually the L vector. The angle between L vector, अच्छा चलिए expression लिखते हैं first. Let me go step by step. So, I, L cross B. The angle between L vector and the magnetic field, that is 90 degree. So, in that given condition, that comes out to be ILB sine of 90. थोड़ा सा और swag रखना है, then you say sine pi by 2. So, when you say angle in radian, you would get a little bit of more swag. Sine pi by 2. Sounds cool, right? Okay. Now, we've calculated the magnitude of the force. But the most important thing is that how do you write the direction? Direction की बात करते हैं. I, L cross B. Now, I don't know in which way are you trained, but you just try to see what would be the direction of the force. Let's try to understand. आप देखेंगे, the direction of the force is going to be in this manner. So, that is how we apply the cross product. So, that is the magnetic force. मैं पहले ही कह चुका हूं, I am assuming that you know cross product. मान लेते आप cross product में थोड़ा सा कमजोर हैं, तो अभी के लिए just take this as the direction. मान के चलो, गुरुजी ने कह दिया है, so you just assume it. बाद में just ensure that you go for a proper practice. Practice करना होगा, बस देख के cross product समझ में नहीं आता. The direction, I'm talking about that. Alright, so that is the force. And we also have another force, and that force is mg. We also have another force, and that is the normal reaction. So that is mg, that is n, this is the magnetic force. Alright? Now, after this, let's try to understand. इसे understand करते हैं. Because it has been said that this rod is in equilibrium. अच्छा, अगर कोई rod equilibrium में है, तो जो mg का एक component जो इसे नीचे घसीट रहा है, that force has to be balanced by something else. And we say, hey, not to worry, हमारे पास magnetic force है. तो because it's in equilibrium, mg का जो component है, so you get mg sine theta. mg cos theta is here, mg sine theta is here, and that will be equals to ILB. So this is the condition. तो लिखते हैं, since in equilibrium, that will be the given condition. यहाँ से question ने कुछ भी पूछा हो, either in form of I, in form of M, whatever you can do. मेरा मकसद था just to help you get trained in this sort of three-dimensional figure. I hope the matter is clear, right? So that is how we calculate, we did this computation. Screenshot लीजिएगा अगर चाहिए बात के reference के लिए, but just get trained in this particular format. Okay. So up until now, we have discussed the computation of force in a current carrying wire, और जो magnetic field है, we have taken it as uniform. एक बहुत खास condition आता है in case of magnetic force, and that is a force in a closed loop. Let's say, ध्यान दीजिएगा, now it's a loop. It's a loop. We did not care to say what is the shape of the loop, but it is a loop. Now, what I'll do is that, let us say, let the magnetic field is uniform. मान लेते, the magnetic field is uniform. So let's go step by step. The magnetic field, if it is uniform, the expression of the force comes out to be I L cross B. that is the expression of the force. Not to forget, हमने अभी even we did a numerical, जहाँ L vector is the displacement starting from the initial till the final. Let me repeat it again. L vector is the displacement starting from the initial to the final. Now, अगर हमारे पास एक current carrying loop है, आपको पता है, for the case of loop, the value of L vector is going to be 0. So now, here, what we'll write, since for the loop की अगर हम बात करें, the value of L vector, that is 0. और अगर L vector की value 0 है, it gives us a very, very wonderful conclusion that the value of force comes out to be 0. Let's see. आपके पास कोई current carrying loop है. You have a current carrying loop. The magnetic field is uniform. Please don't forget. Let me repeat it again. Loop, uniform field. Loop, uniform field. In that given condition, the expression of the force, that will come out to be 0. Don't forget, this is the net force. This is the net force. हाँ, बिल्कुल ठीक है नीलेश जी, आपका आंसर mg sin theta equals to BIL. Yes, that's perfectly fine. Big congratulations. All right. So as I said, if you have a current carrying loop, in case of current carrying loop in a uniform magnetic field, the expression of force comes out to be 0. But there's a little bit of catch, a little bit of condition apply. ये ध्यान देना, मान लेते आपके पास कैसा भी लूप हो, the shape doesn't matter. मजेदार बात ये है, magnetic field अगर uniform है, the net force is 0. But ऐसा बिल्कुल हो सकता है that the individual segment will experience force. All right? The individual segment will experience force, but the net force is 0. But the net force is 0. So net force 0 जो है कभी कभार काफी फसाऊ बनता है. It may trap you. That yes, the net force on the loop is 0, but the individual component of the force, that can be non-zero. Net force 0 दो conditions में हो सकते हैं. Number 1, या तो सभी पे force ही 0 लग रहा है, so the net force is 0. Number 2, in each segment the force is acting, but the vector sum of all those forces, that is 0. Even that condition is valid. So please be very, very careful with this condition. एक और चीज है where students would be a bit confused, and certainly this may be a wow moment for you to understand. Let's try to see. Now this, wow moment is our word in our class that we use, right? आप देखिए, lot many times people, yes, L is the displacement. Perfect. हमने numerical भी किया था जिसमें L was the displacement. There's an answer coming out. नाम दिखाइए राजेंद्र जी. What's her name? Yeah, Stringent. L is the displacement. All right. Now let's come to this point. I was talking कि net force 0 है. Many times students ये कहते हैं. All right. Lot many times students कहते हैं कि अच्छा net force 0 है. इसका मतलब the loop is going to be at rest. I have said you, listen patiently, you are going to get a wow moment. A wow moment in physics. What is the general conclusion that some of the students make? कि क्योंकि net force 0 है, इसका मतलब the entire loop will be at rest, and that is false. That is false. Individual segments पे net force लग रहा है, so that individual segment, they will move. They will move. But then the question comes, फिर ये net force equals to 0, इसका क्या significance है? इसका क्या अर्थ है? That's what we would like to find. ये ध्यान देना, this is one of the common mistakes students make, कि F net divided by mass, that is not acceleration alone. आप कहेंगे force by mass तो acceleration ही है, but that's the acceleration of the center of mass. I don't know why that students, 11th में आने के बाद ये चीज पढ़ते हैं in the topic of rotational motion, but they fail to update it. और junior classes में जो आपने पढ़ा है F by m equals to a, वही नारा लगा के आप चलते हैं कि F by m is acceleration. Yes sir, while doing that chapter also, you said to update our software. Okay. One thing is there, Srinjan, that I'm really impressed कि आप वाकई में you have a very strong desire to learn. What I see is that you follow each and every words carefully, and students like you, dil jeette aap log. You are so strong in terms of attitude, because maybe I don't remember what I said, kahin kaha hoga, these are the normal sentences I use, but you catch it, and really aapne ye yaad karke, you've just made my day. Actually, you've made my day, and keep it up, continue. We'll learn physics wonderfully, we'll explore physics, okay? All right, let's say now कि I was saying, यहाँ पर ध्यान देना, net force upon mass is the acceleration of center of mass. जी हाँ, individual segments move कर सकते हैं, लेकिन इस तरह से करेंगे that the center of mass before and after that will be at the same position. Sometimes क्या होता है कि physics को, okay, sometimes while learning physics, we go it very impractically. I call it as an impractical way of understanding physics. I'll give you one example. Just to put you an example, thoda sa, horrible example hai, thoda sa daravna example hai, but let's give it, okay? For the sake of physics, everything is there. So, मान लेते, that's a typical Sholay scene. All of us know that. Even the new generation, the impact of Sholay. So, here is our brother Dharmender, okay? And अभी तक तो बस ये ठाकुर बना हुआ है, there is no hand, but I'll add the hand, and that will be Dharmender. So here is the Dharampaji, all right? And then, he is arrested by Gabbar, with typical, almost the last scene you can see. अब मैं थोड़ा सा physics apply करता हूँ. So there is a hand, and let me not make all these fingers, and here is the pulley, all right? आप शायद imagine कर पाए, वहाँ पर probably pulley nahi thi, but physics ke example mein, let's do that, okay? So here it is. So this is Dharmendra and this is Sholay happening here, and the two masses are being attached. मैंने पहले ही कहा कि this is a bit bad example, but let's do that. Now, you see that मान लेते first Kalia comes, or I think Samba, whatever. So he said that 4 kg load यहाँ पर attached है, और यहाँ पर भी 4 kg load comes here. All right. So, that Sholay has become so deeply ingrained in our mind. Different comedians have made their own version of Sholay. So, I thought as a physics teacher, why not to make my physics version of Sholay? And that's certainly going to help you learn lots of things. Hamari class mein entertainment is there, but very much academic entertainment. All right. Let's see now. Now, here is the tall Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, so here is J. I think J-A-Y. All right, whatever. Now, see, मान लेते, he is educated in physics, but not much. तो वो कहेंगे कि please don't worry, because anyway the net force is 0. कह सकता है कि इधर से भी 4 kg, इधर से भी 4 kg, so the net force is 0, so you should not feel any pain. That's an improper way of interpreting physics. क्योंकि net force का जो effect है, that's not on the individual component. The impact of the net force is on the center of mass. So ये कह के Jay should not stop helping Viru. He should help because net force is the point for center of mass. मान लेते now Gabbar says that up 4 kg nahi, put it 40 kg this side. Bad example, but still 40 kg this side. Now the pain is going, oh, threshold of pain. But still, the half-educated Jay would say, fine, तो क्या हुआ? Net force तो अभी भी 0 है. अब और load बढ़ाओ, and suddenly, boom, the shoulder gets away from the torso. All right, the shoulder has gone, or the arm goes away from the torso. अब होगा क्या कि ठीक है, these arms they have split apart, but इस तरह से split होंगे. Now the physics is here. इस तरह से split होंगे, पहले with arms, wherever the center of mass was there, individual arms would fly away, but अभी भी the body and the center of mass of the arms, that will be at the same position. इसका मतलब है net force is, this example is there to help you, that net force is the acceleration of center of mass, not of the individual component. Individually they are accelerating, but as I said, the arms would fly apart, but anyway, the center of mass of the body and the arms before and after, that will still be at the same position. So that is the meaning of net force. So I think now the software would be properly updated, that net force upon mass, that should be the acceleration of center of mass. All right, so बीच में हमने कुछ मूवी भी देख ली, right? The Big Sholay, Gabbar. Now let's come to this point. यहाँ पर देखते हैं. Now what's happening is, say, let's just quickly recap. Magnetic field is uniform and the loop is of any shape. Don't forget, the magnetic field is uniform. The net force acting on the loop will be 0. Having that said, कि net force is 0, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है the shape of the loop does not change. Of course, the shape of the loop may change, but even after the change, the center of mass before and the center of mass after, the position is gonna be same. शायद ये बात आपको अच्छी तरह से समझ आ गई. So well, let's do a numerical here, loop को लेके. So right here, see, there is I'll just add one more condition. There is a flexible loop. Okay, that's the first thing, flexible loop, and the length of the flexible loop, that is L. All right, there is a flexible loop and the length is L, and let us say that the current is I and the magnetic field is B, that has been given. Now the first thing, you said acceleration of center of mass. Thank you very much. All right, so now let's see. इसमें एक बार understand करते हैं. इसमें let's try to understand it. आप देखिए, first of all, the magnetic field is uniform. The magnetic field is uniform, that the current carrying loop is there. तो एक बात तो पहले स्पष्ट तरीके से पता है, the expression of the net force, that's going to be 0. There's absolutely no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. Confidently कहते हैं, net force is 0. But now guys, we are educated. Net force equals to 0 does not necessarily mean that the individual components will not move. Move कर सकते. So let's verify. So how are we going to verify? एक-एक component पे 2-4 component उठाइए, that is more than sufficient. Like, let me take this small component. Here is the case. और इस पे direction of force निकालिए. Only in this component. So I vector is in this direction, B vector is cross, so that will be DF. That's where it will be acting. कोई और segment पे उठाइए, like here, the direction of DF would be there. So I expect from you कि आप direction of cross product लगा के ये ज़रूर verify कर लेंगे that at individual part the force is acting in the outward direction. सच तो ये है, इन सभी छोटे छोटे forces की जो addition है, that comes out to be 0. And that's what we have already found, that the net force is 0. But then we say that, hey, agreed that the net force is 0, but this is a flexible wire. So there was a right answer from someone. राजन जी स्क्रॉल कीजिए, एक बार नाम देखें जरा. नाम नहीं लिखते हैं आप. ये किनका है? I could not see the name. 93262, ऊपर देखिए एक बार. 93262409333. एक बार नाम भी लिख दें आप. That will be perfectly fine. So you have written the perfectly right answer. Loop will expand. और expand होके ये जो loop है, of course, symmetry of the situation ये है, that is gonna be a circle. That is gonna be a circle. So that would be the shape. All right. Jaskirat, Mumbai. Oh ho, wonderful, wonderful, Jaskirat. Bombay से हैं आप. That's great. ठीक है. So this is how we come, and you could see that the loop is going to be a circle. Yes, it will become a circle. That's a grace. अब आगे देखते हैं. ये सर्कल है, बट इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप फोर्स लगना बंद हो गए. Of course, the force is acting, but all the forces will be acting radially outward. अब क्यों नहीं मूव करेगा साहब? It has to move. जैसे यहां पर भी the force was acting, it moved, but now it did not move. यहां पर इस कंडीशन में आने के बाद स्ट्रिंग में एक खिंचाव आ जाता है, and in the language of physics that खिंचाव is called as tension. Now there will be a tension in this string additionally, and because of that tension further expansion will not happen. Of course, a certain elastic limit तक expansion will happen, but of course, eventually it's going to be a circle. और एक चीज मैं आपको बता दूं, just before we go to the next calculation, just to give you that, because see this visualization मैं चाहता हूं कि आपका बहुत अच्छा हो. Like इस condition में जब वो circle बन जाता है, तो पुराने flexible condition में जहां center of mass था, circle बनने के बाद भी one thing is guaranteed, the center of mass is going to be at the same point. Center of mass is not going to change for the simple fact net force equals to 0. All right. So this is how it comes. यानी अब हम जानना चाहेंगे कि क्या ये टेंशन निकाला जा सकता है. वैसा as a matter of fact हम टेंशन के करीब कभी नहीं जाना चाहते. आप देखिए फिजिक्स के जो वर्ड्स है डे टू डे लाइफ में हम कितना चुराते. टेंशन हो गया, मैं स्ट्रेस में हूं, प्रेशर है. Alright? और this is what you see. और कहीं कहीं रीजनल मूवीज में voltage, current, all these things are there. So you need to understand that physics के जो words है काफी ज्यादा चुराया जाता है. आप देखिए कि किसी भी तरह से आज ऑफिस में बहुत टेंशन है, काम का बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर है, आज मैं बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस में हूं. तो मैं आपको कहना चाहूं कि आप तैयारी कर रहे हैं एग्जामिनेशन के, स्ट्रेस ज्यादा हुआ उसको आप रोक नहीं सकते, लेकिन अपनी इलास्टिसिटी को बढ़ाएं ताकि यू कैन विथस्टैंड द स्ट्रेस. इसी बात को हमारे बड़े बुजुर्ग और ऑल ग्रेट पीपल इन द पास्ट हैव सेड कि चेंज योरसेल्फ, मेक योरसेल्फ स्ट्रॉन्गर. आई जस्ट गिव यू अ वे ऑफ फिजिक्स. स्ट्रेस ज्यादा है तो क्या हुआ, अपनी इलास्टिसिटी हम ज्यादा रखेंगे ताकि स्ट्रेस हमें असर नहीं कर पाएगा. तो लिटिल बिट ऑफ लाइफ ज्ञान. ओके, नाउ लेट्स कम टू दिस पॉइंट. एक बार टेंशन कैलकुलेट करते हैं. वी गॉट टू कैलकुलेट द टेंशन. सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात है, बहुत ध्यान से सुनना है, बहुत सिंपल क्वेश्चन. I guess some of the students have memorized the answer as well. जहां पर मैं मेडिकल की क्लासेस लेता हूं, some students वो इतने शिद्दत से लगे हुए हैं, किसी आंसर क्वेश्चन देखते वो फटाक से आंसर बता देते. Now वो जान के नहीं कर रहे, they have understood the thing to such a great extent कि आंसर उनके जुबान पे आ गया. But let's try to understand it. सबसे पहली बात, is there a tension? Yes. Okay, let's say that the radius of this is capital R. So is there a tension? Oh yes, there is a tension. पुराने न्यूमेरिकल का एक्सटेंशन है। बट टेंशन कैसे निकालें? जब तक इस स्ट्रिंग को नहीं काटेंगे, यस, जब तक इस स्ट्रिंग को नहीं काटेंगे, you will not be able to find the tension in your free body diagram. Unless you cut this string, you're not going to get tension in your free body diagram. Now, cutting does not mean that come with scissors and all. A mental cutting, okay? Like, see, a simple example dekhte hain. For instance, that this is a string and there is a block, all right? And you know that in this given condition, there is a tension in the string. But tension निकालने के लिए हम क्या करते हैं? We say let's cut it here. और एक बार काटोगे, then for this end the tension comes, this end the tension comes. बहुत ध्यान से सुनिएगा. This is another wow moment that you'll get in physics. An absolute wow moment. क्या पहले tension लग रहा था? Oh yes, the tension was acting. But the tension was not appearing in the free body diagram. That appearing word, that's the golden word. पहले भी, you see, पहले का मतलब, without this particular, all those cutting, the tension was there. But if you want to calculate tension, पहले tension diagram में आ जाए, तभी तो आप calculate कर पाओगे. So in order to get the tension in your diagram, you need to cut it. That's what we call it as the free body diagram. Okay. So here, let me cut it. तो एक काम करते हैं, कहाँ cut करें? There are many techniques how we can find this as the case. नीलेश दृष्टि, आप तो बिल्कुल कवि बन गए. T to make tense and tense to make tension. बिल्कुल ठीक है. Okay, carry on, brother. All right, let's see now. यहाँ पर understand करते हैं. I'll show you a easy technique how to calculate tension. जिन्होंने पहले नहीं किया था उनको तो पहले ही easy technique मिल जाएगा. जिन्होंने पहले किया था by cutting the string at a small point and calculating, I'll just show you an easier way. An easier way. We will cut this string. Okay. So where did we cut this string? At the mid. At the mid we cut this string. दोनों जगह पर. And here is the current. And here is the magnetic field. Don't forget, now we're going to make the free body diagram. Now we're going to make the free body diagram. So free body diagram mein, the field should not be confused. That's one of the common mistake. कि आपके free body diagram में आप खिचड़ी बना देते. उसी में field भी है, उसी में current भी है. Okay, make it neat, make it tidy. Alright, first of all, जहाँ cut किया है, there will be a tension there, there will be tension here. And why is the value of tension equal? Symmetry of the problem. Symmetry, symmetry, symmetry. आपने अगर मेरी current electricity की class attend की है, जिसमें we had calculated net resistance by using symmetry, at least उस episode के बाद, now you must have a firm belief that there is something which is called as symmetry. So there is a symmetry, all right. So there is that common word, symmetry. Now let's see, let's calculate the force. Force के लिए से अलग से diagram में करते हैं. That's the L vector. You get that? L vector is starting from the initial till the final, the direction of current. The magnetic field is here. और जरा हम अपना cross product use करें. I L cross B. So I L cross B, the direction of the force will be here. यहाँ पर I request, because see अगर मैं बहुत detailing cross product में जाऊँ, I will not be able to give you the quality things that's required. So I think this is the nth time I've repeated cross product. Please excuse me. And that force will be in this direction, and that will be I L B sine of 90. You want to use the mathematical swag, you write ILB sine pi by 2. So that will be your baby, a bit swaggering, okay? All right, then this is going to be I, L is going to be 2R into B sine 90. Of course, that will be equals to 1. and in that given situation अब मिलेगा that 2t एक काम करते लिख देते since at rest, because it is at rest, so the net force has to be equals to 0. So Bi2R, here you go, T equals to BIR. So that will be the tension in the string. That will be the tension in the string. All right, so I hope this particular part you are now completely clear with this. All right, guys, so this is how we calculate the force. अब बात करते हैं, let's talk about the another issue, and. Yes, there was an answer there, BIR, एक आंसर आ गया है. राजेंद्र जी दिखाइए जरा. Okay, BIR. नीलेश दृष्टि, बहुत बहुत सुंदर, wonderful. Next, yes, इसे भी दिखाइए, नाम के साथ दिखाइए. Okay, how is 2t? Can you once repeat? Certainly, नाम दिखाइए एक बार. ये पेज का नाम दिखाइए. यही जो पेज खुला हुआ है, name of the student. Okay, Srinjan. ठीक है, I'll do that. Not to worry. ये एक और पेज. Srinjan, I'll come to you. Don't worry. Tension is BIR. शुभ नाम दिखाइए. Okay. So yes. So here you get something like this. नहीं, एक और था BIR. आपने विंडो चेंज कर लिया. ये हाँ ये नाम दिखाइए. नाम रोशन. मिस रोशन, BIR. बिल्कुल ठीक. All right, so let's see how will be 2t. Srinjan, this discussion is dedicated to you because हमने यहाँ कट किया है, यहाँ कट किया है. So our system is this semicircle. So if it is semicircle, okay, so in that given condition, आप देखिए one tension will be there, other tension will be there. Okay, so 2t downward, so there is 2t. Therefore, 2t नीचे equals to Bi2R. Okay, so that's great. So now guys, we have understood about this thing. Remember at the beginning of the class, I had said you one thing. We'll divide the entire thing into two steps. Number one, we would be supplied with the magnetic field. हमें इस बात से कोई लेना देना नहीं था that the magnetic field कहाँ से आ गए. It's something like आप किचन में खाना बनाने जाएंगे, एक तरीका है आपसे पहले ही कोई प्याज टमाटर मिर्ची काट के रेडी रख देता है. आपको बस ये करना है, सामान उठाना है, you put it and start cooking. Okay, so all those ingredients are prepared before. तो अभी तक हमने ये किया है. The magnetic field was ready. Now the second type of cooking is that you go into the kitchen, hold the knife, start chopping off. अब आप ingredient भी cut करेंगे, खाना भी बनाएंगे. That means we will calculate the magnetic field, first step, and with that magnetic field, we are going to calculate the force. All right, thank you, Srinjan. Thank you very much. All right, so now let's see. The second step is this. Force between two parallel currents. दो parallel current carrying wire. Boom, boom. These are the two wires, infinitely long. All right, and that is I. That is I. This separation between them is R. अब देखिए मैग्नेटिज्म में और इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक्स में there is a little bit of difference. बहुत ध्यान से सुनना. And this is really going to make your day, and it's going to develop your confidence exponentially up. Electrostatics में हम कहाँ से शुरू करते हैं? We start from the force. कि दो charges हैं, there is an expression of force. कूलम जी महाराज ने वो force का expression दिया है. Therefore, we start from there. लेकिन magnetism में there is something different. Magnetism में देखिए, we don't have the expression of force, basic expression, as what we had in case of Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law के case में we had a basic expression of force, but in magnetism we don't have. So the question is, how are we going to calculate force in magnetism? Remember, and remember, and remember, magnetism में, if you want to calculate force, you got to take the help of field. आप force का expression ही देखिए, QV cross B, IL cross B. You need the help of field, and with the help of that field, you're going to calculate the force. That's what we do. That's what we do. तो शुरू में, if I want to say, let's say, all right, let me call this as I1, let me call this as I2. So if I say that my system is I2, I2 is in the field of I1. So I2 kahega, the field which I am experiencing is the field created by I1, and in that field, I'm going to experience the force. That's what I2 is going to say. All right? Let me repeat it again. I think that makes sense. Okay? I2 यही कहेगा कि जिस location में मैं हूँ, at that given location, there is a field due to I1. And that external field, a current carrying conductor, of course, there will be a force. So let's see how it goes. So I1 के कारण से, first of all, the direction of the magnetic field would be this. That's B1. That is B1. Now, you could see how the right-hand grip rule. Remember I said, this time you got to chop the tomatoes. You got to cook yourself. दोनों काम आपने करना है. इससे पहले तक the tomatoes were pre-chopped by someone else. तो इसके कारण से we are calculating the field. Now, the right-hand grip rule, all those things, that, everything, okay. Now, that value of magnetic field, the expression is mu naught I1 divided by 2 pi r. That is the expression of the magnetic field. That is the expression. Now, the whole story ends here. कि इस given magnetic field में, let me consider a small segment of length dl2. So now let's see. The direction or the magnitude of force dF2 is going to be I2 dl2 B1 sine of 90 or sine of, okay, sine of pi by 2. Sophistication ले आते, class ले आते अपने बात पे. 90 degree के बजाय, let's say pi by 2. So now this is what I get. dF2 right here, you could see. In the case of dF2, that's going to be I2 dl2 or B1 के बदले में, let me write it as mu naught I1 by 2 pi r. What about the direction? Direction के लिए I cross B, actually it's L cross B, you use the cross product, आपको मिलेगा the direction of the force is this. That is the direction of force. And suddenly we say that, hey, अगर इस पे force निकाला जाए, by repeating the entire event, इसके द्वारा magnetic field यहाँ निकालेंगे, and that magnetic field is going to act as the external magnetic field, और उस external magnetic field में, let's calculate the force, all this process you would do, you get it as dF. Wow, complete beauty, complete beauty. And then you would say, all right, if there are two current carrying wires, parallel in the same direction, these two wires are gonna magnetically attract. So two parallel current carrying wires having current in the same direction, these two wires are going to get attracted. The reverse of this, इन दोनों में से एक current को अगर हम उल्टा कर दें, alright? If I just reverse, then of course the expression of the force will be same, but the direction would be opposite, so that becomes a repulsion. और इसी चीज को हम एक generic rule बनाते, आपको सुन के मजा आ जाएगा. Actually, जो current को define करते हैं laboratory में, standard way में, इसी experiment के सहारे से we define the value of current. So now let's try to see the expression of the force per unit length, and that force per unit length आपको याद रखना होगा you got to remember this, mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi r. Now that's not the force, be careful, that's the force per unit length. अब आप देखिए कि इस एग्जाम्पल को अनेक तरीकों से people may utilize it. Now, just to give you a simple example, let us say that there is a long wire and that carries a current I. और ठीक इसी तरह से इसके ऊपर there is another wire of mass m, length L. Let us say that the separation is R. Okay, let us say that the separation is R. तो इस given condition में मान लेते ये भी given है that this is in equilibrium. Okay, let's try to see. First of all, we understand कि okay, this is in equilibrium. इसका मतलब its mg has to be balanced by some force. तभी जाके this small segment is going to be in equilibrium. तो हमारे पास mg को बैलेंस करने के लिए एक ही साधन है. We only have one source and that is the magnetic force. Now, it's something like you're going in a reverse calculation. mg को बैलेंस करना है, so the force has to be opposite. अब जरा ध्यान से देखिए, बार बार हम वही कहानी में नहीं जाएंगे. We will utilize the result as well. अब again calculate the field, then the force, the process is going to get lengthened for no reason. That's the reason why हम क्या करते, okay, इसके साथ repulsive force चाहिए, इसका मतलब the direction of the current has to be opposite. तो उस article को we use it in a single go, ताकि you need not repeat everything from square one. Up, the force per unit length is mu naught I dash divided by 2 pi r. Don't forget, it's a force per unit length multiplied by L. That is the total force, and that force will be equals to mg. All right? So in this way, this given system will be in equilibrium. Oh, it was a fantastic discussion and lots of responses from you people. And, you know, इसी तरह से अगर physics पढ़ेंगे, I'm pretty sure that these classes are certainly going to add values in your existing knowledge. अगले बार हम बात करने जा रहे हैं एक टॉपिक जो अक्सर आप लोग हेट करते, घृणा करते हैं, permanent magnet. और permanent magnet that's important for NEET examination will search कितने सारे wow moments उस पे भी निकाला जा सकता है. Thank you very much for joining me. Allow me to sign off. I'll catch you up in the next. Bye for now.